Hey everybody, thank you for listening to and or watching Teddy Bears and Tentacles podcast. This is episode number Halloween. I'm your host Quinn, and I'm here with Skinny Rick.
Yeah, dude, I'm here today.
Yeah, you're here, dude. You're dressed up as a
cowboy.
As a Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption character.
A Red Dead Redeemer.
Red Dead Redemption.
Definitely got a little
too.
John Marston action going on over there.
This is actually based off of my Red Dead Redemption 2 character.
Please stand up. Let people see your pants.
Oh, my pants.
I think I gotta.
Yeah, dude. Let's see the pants.
We gotta see the pants.
I mean, they're actual pants. They're not.
Yeah.
These aren't just costume pants. I bought actual like high waisted.
Yeah,
show them the shoes.
Oh, the shoes, baby.
Yeah, this is the most authentic part.
Them old school
Look at
shoes,
that.
baby.
Yeah.
Old school shoes.
Yeah. This is
That's that pre-Jesus.
Yeah.
That
Wiki
pre-Jesus.
feet.
What are they? That's the pre-Jerusalem
Air
cruisers
Jerusalems.
or whatever.
Yeah. Air Jesus.
Air Jerusalems.
I also got this, dude.
Yeah. So I'm dressed up as a Vatican agent, a priest in honor of deposition release week for Ghislaine Maxwell. And we also have with us today, what's the band called nowadays? Or
Formerly Fire Hazard.
Yeah,
we split up.
Yeah, we did. We broke up because of creative differences.
But, we've worked it all out. So this is our new band, Creative Differences.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have creative differences here. That was a beautiful little tune going on at the beginning. What do y'all call that one?
That one's actually named Wiener Dog.
Wiener Dog.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's our self-titled 12th album that we just released.
Okay.
Self-titled Wiener Dog.
All right. Pumping them out since Christmas. I guess COVID's.
Yeah.
You got the time.
Lots of time to set aside our creative differences.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, it's Halloween week. I'm dressed up as a priest again. We got cowboy, we got afro, and we have a mullet with a hat on.
We're not in
That's
costume.
our costumes. Yeah, this is just regular.
No, we're not in costume.
Okay.
This is what has happened.
That's actually sort of
Because of
offensive.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay.
Results of COVID.
My bad. So
I almost look like a pirate, really, when I take the hat off.
You do.
Yeah.
What's weird is I got COVID and it turned my hair curly.
dang boy.
Nothing else happened. I just woke
I think
up
I
like
heard
this.
that, dude, from the World Healthiness Federation or whatever they call
World
it.
Health Organization.
Well, there's a study on it.
You talking about Fauci's MySpace?
Yep.
Fauci's MySpace. Yeah. Dude, well, it's an extra special Halloween because we have elections coming up in just a couple of weeks. Yeah. Extra special, extra spooky Halloween, dude.
Extra everything, dude. Let me get a couple of, let
go
me get
early
some sour
vote dressed
cream on
up as
top, too.
Dracula. And you can do that. But so we're not going to talk politics today. I figured we would do something fun and talk about aliens today.
Yeah.
So
baby.
I don't know what you guys' belief is on whether or not there's something else out there besides humanity. I guess we could take this as a hypothetical.
There are just regular
because
manatees
we are
out
doing
there,
this in
though.
a church. Regular what?
Manatees.
Manatees.
Yeah.
So have either of you?
Those chubby things that swim.
Yeah. So either of you ever seen a UFO?
Once.
No, I thought I did one time, but it ended up not being.
I mean, what I saw was definitely a UFO. I saw two of them side by side.
Where?
in my backyard.
Okay.
I'm dead serious. It may not have
saw
been
one
aliens,
too.
but it was an unidentified flying object. That thing was not a regular plane. I can
Yeah.
talk about it though later if you want.
Unidentified by you.
Yeah. I'm telling you right now, dude.
It was just a, you know,
It's very loose
Just a
definition.
fancy
you
plane.
know.
All right.
No, whenever
I
I
have to
lived in
believe
Mississippi, this is actually just a crazy story or a crazy situation in general. I was walking out in the middle of the woods down like this dirt road that went out in these woods with one of my friends who's an older guy. He had some land out there, and we were going to clean up and stuff like that. And so we were walking, and it was, I don't know, maybe like 7:45 or so. It was like dark, but not really quite dark yet. And we were just walking, and we kind of just were looking up at the tree line and just felt something. Like you kind of hear leaves move and stuff, but it wasn't that high above the tree line, but it was just something flying there, and it went right above us, and we couldn't hear it, but we could see it, and it was like triangular-ish shaped, and he was just a crazy dude, and went to the police station and told them that we saw a UFO. And then a couple weeks later, they ran
It was a hang glider.
No, a couple weeks
It's
later,
probably a flying squirrel.
a couple weeks later, they ran a article in the paper, and they had some Air Force demonstration for some drones or something like that was going on. So there was
That's what
actually
they always say.
there was actually multiple, I guess like not complaints,
Reports.
but multiple calls about reports about it. So they ended up printing a story about it. But
What, dude?
that's my UFO experience.
I saw one. I was in a newspaper about it.
For real?
I've
I
heard
was in several newspapers.
about
When?
this.
It was a few years ago, before the band started. We were riding home from church after we picked up kids one Wednesday, and looked out the window and saw this green fireball in the sky. But it wasn't like space debris coming in because it was moving so slowly, and I'd never seen anything like it. So first thing we did, obviously, after we went and got Chick-fil-A, is called the newspaper. Called the newspaper,
Yeah.
and talked to them about it. Apparently, we weren't the only ones that saw it,
Okay.
and so that's how I got on the front page of the paper. At least the time I'm willing to talk about.
What time of the day was this at?
It was probably around 6:30, 7 p.m.
Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah, they were coming home from work, probably.
And how far away was it?
It's difficult to tell. I mean, it was on the horizon. It was just slightly off the horizon towards the north sky.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. What about you? You ever seen anything?
Craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. There was this lady outside the McDonald's one time. Probably was an alien, dude. She was speaking some kind of crazy language I ain't never heard. And then she tried to give me a probe, and I was like, no. And I ran off.
All right. Well,
So y'all saw a UFO. I saw an alien, man.
okay. Well,
That's actually the second track on our fourth album, if you are interested.
I saw an alien.
I saw an alien
probe,
outside
dude.
McDonald's, and
Yeah.
they asked for a probe.
Yeah.
We actually had Pitbull on that one.
I believe it.
so what'd yours look like, Skinny Rick? What was your
So, it was like, you know how you can buy like borderline illegal lasers off of Wish?
I do now.
yeah.
So I bought one of those, and it was nighttime, and I was shining it around, testing it out. And you don't want to shine that at an airplane, but I shined it into the sky, and I saw it reflect, and I was like, "Oh crap! I just shined it at an airplane." So I turned it off, and I looked up, and I was like, "What the heck?" So I like, we went in, grabbed the binoculars. This is nighttime, and we're looking up at the sky. And there's two, like, straight up just, like, perfect triangles. One's black and one's silver, like, way higher up than I've seen. Either was way higher up than most planes fly or was way smaller than a normal aircraft. And they were just floating above, like, our neighborhood. They weren't, like, flying. They were just hovering side by side. That's the thing, dude. That's what I saw.
So more than one person saw this?
My dad and my sister.
And what time was this at?
This was probably at like 9 or 10 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in all seriousness, it's one of those things that's really hard to even think about because we don't have any real evidence of, alien existence here that we're aware of.
Tell that to the Pentagon, dude.
Yeah, well, that we're aware of. But it's hard to think that potentially that there's nothing else out there because just because of how big the universe is, really, and it becomes an even weirder conversation to have once you throw Christianity into it and stuff like that, but regardless, pretty much since there's been media or somebody that could write something down on something, there's been weird depictions that people have kind of looked at and thought that this could be like these different ancient civilizations drawing aliens or had some type of alien influence that helped them with different technologies like the pyramids, up until even since
Microwaves.
Yeah, even since COVID, the Pentagon. The Pentagon has officially released since COVID those videos of the Tic Tac UFO and the gimbal, and was just like, hey, here it is. They've also said that they've recovered, officially said that they've recovered something as well, which a lot of people think that that's the Roswell crash. But throughout history, I mean, there's just been tons of speculation about this stuff, and it's just weird to think about. Right now at church we're doing the Spooktacular series and talking about Ezekiel and stuff like that. And a lot of people think that what he's describing whenever he's talking about the wheel and the creature with all the heads is some type of alien or whatever.
I mean, I know a dude who thinks that that's what every particular instance where angelic things are presented throughout the scriptures is some type of alien encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Is what he thinks.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's what he says. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, people think a lot of different things about this stuff. I just wanted to go through some of the archaeological stuff and a few different things that I found, throughout the years, just within the conspiracy universe. So this is history. I guess is the History Channel website. This is the UK version. So Akhenaten's elongated skull, Pharaoh Akhenaten's strange appearance has caused speculation from some ancient alien theorists that he could have been an extraterrestrial. Indeed, his appearance in ancient Egypt hieroglyphs and statues is odd and very dissimilar from how other pharaohs were portrayed. He is shown as having an elongated skull, long neck, overweight, midsection, and breasts. While these features are quite similar to the typical Western depiction of aliens, other historians have argued that his odd appearance could have been due to a genetic disorder such as Marfan syndrome, or he could have been transgendered.
Dang, boy.
I think that this one...
way back in the day, they were getting on it,
I think
getting
that,
ahead of their time, really.
Yeah, I think it could be this one specifically. Could just be, we see different cultures pretty much everywhere that do different type of bodily manipulation in some form or another. I think
like yoga.
Yeah, but with like rings and stuff. So they'll like do yoga and then they'll throw another 1 inch, ring on their neck, and before you know it, they got they're walking around like half a giraffe. Yeah.
I know exactly what I've seen.
But yeah, which is a thing. That is a thing. How do you
fit the ring around your head?
I mean, I actually heard something. I want to say it was on another podcast. They were explaining this elongated skull thing. Whenever they were babies, they would actually form their skulls.
Yeah, because it's more. What's the word? When you can like. If I
malleable?
Could if I could take something and like shape it.
Yeah. So I don't know if they use
baby skulls.
Some type of container or some type of way to do it, but supposedly that was like a practice that had been around. So I think this one specifically is one that could probably be pretty easily debunked. The pyramids, I don't think so much. The ancient Egyptian pyramids of Giza, one of the world's greatest architectural wonders and mysteries, considered they were built 2580 to 2560 BC. Archaeologists and historians alike are puzzled as to just how huge these structures were built. How these huge structures were built. One theory is that they had alien assistants who would have used advanced technologies to create them. This is a thing that I heard ever since I was a little kid.
Well, they could just have like thousands of slaves.
Yeah, whole bunch of slaves.
I think that's probably more likely.
Which they did have, and it definitely is possible.
Like, we can't lift some of those stones.
Yeah. But with enough people, I mean, we all know that
they were stronger then, dude, and bigger, way bigger.
Yeah. Oh yeah, more discipline too, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, leverage is a technology that
has been around.
Yeah, once you find that out,
once the wheel got invented,
so
people were using it for everything.
Yeah, there's no telling
even
though,
leverage.
just because we haven't necessarily found any of the technologies or tools that they use to break these stones off and cut them and stuff like that. And I think that's where the mystery really lies, is how they
cut it with water, dude, high pressure water.
Who knows, dude?
That makes sense.
Water saws.
It's weird to think of such a large, I guess what would have been considered flourishing civilization that at least figured out some technology like irrigation and stuff like that, and they just went away, pretty much completely for the most part. Pumapunku, the large ancient temple complex in Bolivia, Pumapunku contains some of the largest known stones in the world, many of which weigh more than 100 tons each. TONNES, dude, so European.
That's so British.
For this very reason, some argue that, as with the pyramids, aliens must have helped the ancient Bolivian people in their architectural pursuits. Some of the stones also include intricate decoration and stonework, all that. So
I mean, that's like what?
Just another
50
kind of
elephants?
situation. Yeah, another 50
elephants worth of weight.
Well, you also have to say, is a ton the same as a ton?
Tonnes.
Yes. How many tons are in a ton?
So, one thing that people bring up all the time is the fact that, specifically in South America, which is so far away from the Middle East or Africa, that there are similar pyramids in both places and in different spots around the world. So, same kind of deal.
So the idea is that there was some sort of aliens. That's how they happened at the same time.
Yeah, or why I want to say specifically that they believe that the pyramids are some type of like energy.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Because the chambers that run through the pyramids are like
batteries, pretty much.
Yeah, they're pretty much like wireless charging stations for space.
Yeah.
The one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah. So coming soon episode on space capitalism. The Moai of Easter Island. These are the Easter Island heads. It's going to sit here and say that they don't know where they come from. These are the Polynesian islands. We saw one of them, or a replica of one of them, at the Polynesian Cultural Center. I do not remember what they had to say about it, honestly.
It's a big head.
Yeah. Supposedly they go
it's got feet.
Pretty far underground, from what I understand.
If you go underground, it's got feet.
Why are they all the way down there, dude?
So I want to say supposedly what happened was that they used up all the resources on that island. That's why there was no people and no trees or anything there. So that at one point there was a group of people on that island, and they literally cut down the last tree.
They invented some sauce, cut down the trees.
Maybe they just didn't know how to
just disappear.
Plant the trees.
Maybe. I don't know if they invented the sauce, but that's
that's your words, not mine.
Yeah.
You haven't had Easter Island sauce, dog?
Easter Island sauce.
That's
R.I.P.
That's that salad
Change
dressing,
your whole
right?
life, dude. Yeah, the salad dressing. The Easter Island dressing.
Right?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm going to start saying
that's
that.
actually
that's stuff that's almost, it's almost honey mustard.
Reuben with some of that Easter Island dressing.
Yeah, Easter Island. That's actually the 4th track from our 8th album.
So
Reuben with Easter Island dressing. We had Mariah Carey on that track.
Water.
I left mine somewhere.
Okay. So, man, there's a lot of these. Well, no, there's not that many.
Yeah, dude, they got a lot.
What? Dude, look at this! Look at this space
There
right
were
here,
4.
bro. It makes it look like there's a ton of them. All right. So, ancient hieroglyphs on Mars. I don't know much about this one. So far,
I've been there.
yeah.
I know he's.
We're gonna skim through some of this stuff, but this one specifically, I don't know anything about this one. I have seen recently a lot more articles about, hey, we found like a doorway. You know, it looks like the remnants of like a stone type doorway on Mars and stuff like that. So,
Stone
kinda
doorway. Crazy.
yeah, let's see if we can find it real quick. So,
Dude, while you're looking for it, I'll tell you this. I was watching Transformers one time, right?
yeah.
And according, this is 100% true. Don't have to fact check this.
I wouldn't.
If you take all the continents and you put them back together like Pangea,
Yeah.
right?
They're shaped like a cat.
Stonehenge is in the middle of it.
It's in the middle of the cat.
Yeah.
So this supposedly is
Interesting.
is on Mars.
Dude, that's a house.
That says speak friend and enter.
mean,
What's
that
in
does
it?
look a
There's
lot
like a there's like a
doorway.
dude standing in it.
That's definitely from Earth 1, and
Yeah.
we are now on
Yeah.
Earth 2, trying to get back to Earth 1, which will be our Earth 2.
There was another one that I had seen recently that was like, whoa,
It's an
dude, if
experiment.
that was really on Mars, that's pretty weird looking.
The
it was a
person?
doorway. No, it was a doorway. It was another doorway kind
Nah,
of
dude,
thing.
let
Is
me
that
see
like
the
an
doorway.
Afghan hanging on Mars there? That second row?
Yeah, I don't know what's
Honestly, this
think
could
this-
this could
which
just
one?
be a
That's
photo
right
from
there. I think that's literally an Afghan hanging
Yeah,
on Mars.
dude, look at that.
That's intense.
Yeah.
It's amazing what technology can do today with photography.
Yeah, you could buy this right there at the swap meet.
On Mars?
Yeah.
two
Man.
pyramids and face.
And an
Yeah.
Afghan.
Well, we'll put that picture up. It's nothing too crazy. Let's keep going real quick. So Stonehenge, another one I don't know a ton about. I know that there are a lot of really strange scenarios whenever it comes to these different ancient structures and
How do we lift the stone so high?
Well-
technology.
specifically, I think where it lines up with
Technology.
astrologically and the what is it? Why can't I think of the word?
Constantinople.
No, you know what I'm talking about, dude. What's it called?
Constance.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Formations in the sky. Of stars.
Constellations.
Constellations. Yeah. Constellations.
Astronomy.
Astrology, dude.
There's so many of those like ancient things that line up with that stuff. You know, supposedly they found I can't remember. I think it was in
Afghan on
South
Mars.
America, but it was a drawing of an ancient drawing that was a couple thousand years old. They say, of our solar system, but it was everything was where it was supposed to be. So it was just
before
rings,
we knew.
the rings that you see whenever you're like a kid. But it was
Before we knew that
Earth
the
was
Earth
flat.
was
Flat.
not at the center of the
yeah.
of the solar system.
Yeah, but everything was where it's supposed to be, which is interesting. So,
Like POV of the universe.
yeah.
Yeah.
The rest of this stuff,
Wild.
again, a lot of this stuff is just, pyramids and ancient structures and stuff like that. But
Yep.
and then I wanted to just run through really quick some of the more famous UFO sightings or alien sightings. So you got Kenneth Arnold in 1947. So the origin of today's fascination could be tracked to a civilian pilot, Kenneth Arnold, while flying a small aircraft near Washington's Mount Rainier on June 24th, 1947. Arnold claimed to have seen 9 blue glowing objects flying fast, an estimated 1,700 miles per hour in a V formation. So that's in 1947. So the one that you saw, was it more like an orb or like a fireball type thing?
It looked like a green fireball. I mean, it was a very slow moving. It almost looked like what you would think a comet would look like
Yeah.
if it were in the Earth's atmosphere
Yeah.
and it were green.
Yeah.
And it was also not a comet.
Okay.
I can
Well-
imagine that perfectly, actually.
I
Yeah.
felt like that was a pretty good
I can too.
summary.
I'm actually just imagining that someone cast a spell into the sky.
They probably rolled a natural 20.
That's
what I'm
what it-
thinking.
Yeah.
And that's, a lot of people talk about that really whenever they talk about UFOs. A lot of people,
Rolling natural 20s.
yeah, rolling natural 20s constantly, dude.
Okay.
But, seeing those orb type objects or whatever that kind of free float that almost don't.
I did freak out and thought that we saw some UFOs, a few months back when we were walking on the beach, and we looked up and there's this like perfect formation of what looked like satellites.
Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, definitely Rubik's Cube satellites. If by Rubik's Cube you mean something that looks absolutely nothing like that and is in no way related to that,
That's
it's
what I meant.
identical to that. But it was like it was like we counted them. There's like over 80 of them, and they were all equidistantly spaced.
Those
and
are
they were coming over, and we were freaking out. And I'm like, I had no idea what it was, and we looked it up, and it turns out the whole time it was Elon Musk.
Yeah.
The whole time.
So
That's like-
have you ever seen one? Have you seen one
Elon
of those
Musk?
satellites?
No, I
One of
haven't.
those. Okay, we've done this before, right?
It freaked me out. I said, it's the end of times. I gotta get me something to eat.
they're like
Look at what this is.
it's like a
dude.
little.
They built it in the guy's backyard, and they
This-
didn't even rake up the leaves.
This looks like a freaking.
That's
This
discount,
is a
man.
crashed one. So this is a balloon satellite, which I'm not sure which ones the ones that he launched were.
It looks like a
held
satellite if you bought it on Wish.
Exactly. It looks like like the legs of picnic tables if you're from the South, and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of looks like a satellite.
Pretty weird.
No, it looks
Um,
like a picnic table.
Yeah.
That's how
So
all
They're
the
just
picnic
letting those
tables look
things
in the
fall out
South.
of the sky.
That seems
what,
dangerous.
those things? Yeah, one of them fell, dude. So
I'd be so mad if that landed on me.
let's
I'd
keep
be
going
dead.
because some of this stuff I really like. Roswell, 1947. Again, this is one that I don't know a ton about. It's the mother of UFO sightings, but no object was actually observed flying in the Roswell incident. In the summer of 1947, rancher William Mack Brazel discovered mysterious debris in one of the New Mexico pastures, including metallic rods, chunks of plastic, and unusual papery scraps. After Brazel reported the wreckage, soldiers from nearby Roswell Army Air Force Base came to retrieve the materials. News headlines claiming that a flying saucer crashed in Roswell, but the military officials said it was a downed weather balloon. Which, in 1947, to most people, pretty much.
That was the same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
I mean, you could have showed them a color TV and they would have not known what to do.
Yeah, pretty much anything.
You could have shown them
one
color,
one of these
dude.
phones, and it would be like,
They didn't even have color.
Yeah.
is
back
this
then.
God?
Is this God?
Yeah.
Hello, God.
They know it's an Android.
Is this a pigeon?
I've never seen one of those.
So
This is before
This is the
color
latest
invented.
model
see.
of government drones.
Lubbock Lights, 1951. On the evening of August 25th, 1951, 3 science professors from Texas were enjoying an evening outdoors in Lubbock when they looked up and saw a semicircle of lights flying above them at high speed. Over the next few days, dozens of reports flooded in from across town. So there's that one. This one is Loveland, 1957. In the film Close Encounters of the Third Kind, there was a famous scene where UFO makes the electronics in a car go haywire. The real-life inspiration for that scene came from an incident.
What's that sketch on a piece of notebook paper?
Yeah. This is what it does.
It's wonders what Hollywood can do, Wonders.
Yeah, it really is.
Oh,
So
man.
they reported seeing a rocket, strange lights that interfered with their vehicle. Tehran in 1967. This is one of the ones where it was Air Force fighters. So an F-4 fighter jet was sent out to investigate. Incident Tehran, Iran started much like any others with phone calls from concerned citizens reporting a bright light in the sky. F-4 fighter jet was sent to investigate. But as soon as it neared the object, its instruments blacked out, forcing the pilots to return to base. A second F-4 took its place, and as it neared the unusual light, it achieved radar lock. But according to the pilot, the UFO released a glowing object, with the pilot assumed to be some sort of missile headed straight for him. As he prepared to fight back, the pilot experienced malfunctions with his instruments, and he witnessed another bright object released from the UFO that headed straight towards the ground. He safely returned to base despite the faulty equipment. Pretty interesting. And then there's the Rendlesham Forest one, the Belgian wave.
Boy.
Oh, that's the thing you saw on Skinny River.
Yeah, right there, boy.
Yeah, but it wasn't glowing like that, I guess.
Yeah. So another really famous one was the Betty and Barney Hill
Same
one.
shape though.
I saw that episode.
Of this.
Betty and Barney Hill. That was a show that came on like the 80s, wasn't it?
Well, it was. They were just. I don't know. What was it? What were you talking about?
Just talking about a TV show.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just a TV show.
I don't know.
Oh,
It
I don't
sounds
know.
like it should have been a TV show in the
probably
80s.
so.
I mean,
I'm confused.
Yeah,
well,
I
I
thought
think
you.
we should all just brush up on some 80s sitcoms.
So this is one of the more famous ones. September 19th, 1961. Betty and Barney Hill, along with their dog Delzy, returning from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, from a short vacation to Niagara Falls. They were traveling on Highway 3 just south of Lancaster when they saw a bright light in the sky. Betty, who was in the passenger seat, watched the light move lower in the sky. First, Barney thought it was probably an airplane, but Betty thought it was a flying saucer. The Hill stopped to get a closer look at the object and let Delcy out for a walk. Barney remained curious. But just a little frightened, he got out of the car and used his binoculars, but still could not figure out what he was looking at. He stopped the car a few more times on his way home. He described seeing lights of all different colors and rows of windows of the object. He described the object as pancake-shaped. At one point, he approached the object and could see several occupants inside, which scared him so badly he ran quickly to the car to join Betty where she was waiting for him.
No way, dude.
So he just left his dog?
No way, dude.
So
You
I don't know
gotta
if he left the
be
dog.
you gotta be willing to die for science, you know.
yeah. The couple then heard buzzing sounds and
Gotta
felt
find
tingling
out what's in
sensation
there.
through their bodies, but ultimately they drove home where they went straight to bed exhausted. They did not wake up until late the following afternoon. Then they realized the 4-hour trip home from Niagara Falls had taken them 7 hours. Betty noticed the dress that she was wearing was torn in several places and had pinkish powder on it. The powder was later examined in 5 different laboratories. None of them could identify the substance. The toes of Barney's good dress shoes were scuffed to the point that he could no longer wear them. The binocular strap was broken and looked like it had been cut. Both Barney and Betty were wearing watches at the time of their unusual encounter. Both watches quit working and never worked again. Shiny concentric circles appeared on the trunk of their car that seemed to have some sort of magnetic connection. They noted a strange reaction from the compass after it was placed near the circles. At her sister's urging, Betty called the Pease Air Force to report the incident. Basically, so that's what happened. They end up going through like hypnosis and stuff like that. Theirs was one of the more like
Just sounds like they were at a
covered
rave.
one in the media and stuff like that. Yeah,
What?
to me
Just
it
sounds like
sounds
they were at a rave.
it sounds super ET. You know, I saw this pancake-shaped thing with colored windows, and I looked in, and there were dudes. You know,
Yeah, there was no
It was
I feel like
hallucinogenic
ET
drugs
Yeah, I
involved
was
with that
gonna say, they
report.
could have just been on some
yeah.
They invented raves.
fun stuff.
Let's see. So, this one right here, this
Oh,
I've
he
heard
did it.
multiple times. So, supposedly Eisenhower had met multiple times with aliens. You know, I want to say like 2 or 3 times.
That's common knowledge, dude. I learned that in school.
Well, he's like high-level
you?
government. So, I mean,
I've never
if
heard
he
this
hadn't have
before.
met with aliens,
I don't know if
that would be weird.
I've never heard this before in my life.
So, this is from Gaia. The first meeting with aliens and President Eisenhower occurred in Edwards Air Force Base in February 1954. Navy Commander Charles L. Slug supported that his father had attended a meeting between Ike and the ETs. Eisenhower met with 2 Nordic appearings, blue-eyed ETs. A third one stood near the door as a lookout. The discussions were polite. Eisenhower wanted to effectuate a treaty with the aliens, but was unable to agree with their demand that we cease testing nuclear weapons. The aliens, with no treaty in place, but returned the next year to Hallman Air Force Base in New Mexico, not far from the famous Roswell alien aircraft site, for a subsequent meeting with Eisenhower. So this one's kind of interesting that supposedly this is information, that they got from somebody who was at the meeting. But it is interesting that so many UFO sightings, especially since we've had nuclear power available, almost all of them that have shown up since then have been around nuclear test sites or at nuclear weapons facilities and stuff like that. So, kind of interesting.
Yeah, dude. We're passing them.
We're passing them.
I feel threatened. I did want to bring up that Eisenhower and the aliens actually opened for us before this whole
Dude.
COVID thing went down.
That is a sick.
They opened for us. We didn't get along real well because they ate all of our sandwiches.
Yeah.
But
As you
other than
do.
that, you know, they did keep to themselves. There was no probing. So I will give them that. You know.
That's
Okay.
not much.
Okay.
You
Oh,
didn't get it,
no. You went to McDonald's when we were doing that, though. I think that's okay. It makes sense now.
Sweet lady, really, but
Yeah.
the sweet is a metaphor for not.
So the next one we're gonna look at is this one's more recent. This is the Tic Tac UFO, and so
That's
if
not.
nobody knows what this is, this is
lizard person.
yeah, that's a lizard person right there. Bo Jordan, they call him. Look at him. Tax increase $4 trillion.
Why does this footage look like it's?
Hello,
Oh.
fellow humans. I
Propaganda.
understand your health needs.
It's propaganda. That's why. So anyway, there was Commander David Fravor, the Navy. He's a Navy pilot and pretty high ranked. He was on Joe Rogan at one point, but he's a guy who was piloting the craft that saw the Tic Tac UFO, which that video had been released, and then that's what we were talking about earlier, was later confirmed by the Pentagon. And so this is it, and I'll just say what the significance of it is afterwards. So they actually cycle through multiple different types of recording device here. So this is it. They've locked onto it. And so yeah, they're swapping at this point. This is above the ocean. They're swapping devices. So it's just showing you that they have it on different things. Yeah, and I guess we'll throw this video in there if we can, I guess. So here they go swapping it again.
That's a TIE fighter right there.
100%.
So basically, what they say, the reason that it's so weird is this thing went from like water level to 60,000 feet in like 1 second, which is really crazy. They say pretty much impossible, but what's crazier is that 60,000 feet is actually the extent that their radar can read. So there's a possibility that it went much higher. It only read up to 60,000. They say that it's nothing that we know of that exists at this point, and the reason that it is because if you look at it, it shows no exhaust. So this is more or less like heat signature right here. So there's no exhaust of it, and what it's showing it is actually as like an object that is colder than ice by its heat signature on these two devices. So pretty interesting. I mean,
How weird.
could it be
dude.
like alien craft, or could it be, some kind of other
Lovecraft.
country's technology? H.P. Lovecraft, dude. Could be Cthulhu. Could be Cthulhu eggs, dude.
Yeah.
And then, so
Surprise.
before we start the last thing, I guess, so what do you guys think? I guess all of us going to church together, and some of us, working, or at least all of us as volunteer staff for different times. I mean, what do you think
Wait,
about?
You guys are getting paid.
What do you think about the? What do you think about like Christianity and faith and the potential for like alien life and stuff like that?
Honestly, though, I think it's all demonic. Like, all of it. Yeah.
Aliens?
Yeah, I don't believe in aliens.
Okay.
I believe it's demonic.
Okay.
I'm not saying that people don't experience things,
Yeah.
because if you're a Christian, you have to believe that the spiritual realm is real and still interact with it,
Yeah.
and that the enemy is a master of deception, so he's going to show you what you want to see,
Yeah.
even if you don't realize it so much. So I think that can go along with hauntings,
Yeah. Sure.
UFOs.
Sure. Yeah.
fast food employees.
Yeah.
Not all of them, just the one that was at McDonald's.
Which McDonald's?
The one that he went to when I was with the band.
Okay.
Eisenhower and Aliens.
Okay.
It was. She was a sweet lady though.
Yeah.
It's literally just the one. I don't mean to generalize.
Yeah.
It's just literally that one
I
employee.
mean, we can generalize. I don't.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think, Dylan?
What happens if I turn this?
Here we go.
Well, I don't really have any issue with aliens, or the possibility of even, I guess, like sentient life somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't talk about it much. The way that I think about it is there's certainly life somewhere. Like, just, I don't see why. Well, I'm not going to say with certainty, but I also would not be surprised because it's just, I mean, the way the numbers work.
Yeah.
It's like there would likely be something somewhere. And that doesn't really bother me as far as faith goes. But, I mean, who knows? I don't see why not. Yeah. And who knows? Like I said, it could be something, could not be, but
yeah,
we'll figure it out when we get there. I really don't see an issue. I do know a number of like hang-ups that sort of prevent folks from getting to, like, I don't know. I don't think of it as like the little gray man or like a little not like, oh, there's a star seed, and when when people get abducted or something, like they're getting probed, and what they're doing is they're actually taking their genetic material to create like these like just children. And so it's like we have people on Earth who have fathered these alien children because they're like mixing DNA and stuff. Like, I don't really know about all that, but the idea that there is life somewhere else, which is ultimately like alien, I certainly have no problem with, like, if there was like an animal on another planet. But even if we got to the point, like I said, where there was something that was like, perhaps it even created a language or even like its own distinct or unique culture. I don't know. Like I don't really have an issue with it.
Skinny Rick?
Yeah, I don't even know, really. I mean, yes, at the end of the day, like, yeah, I think that, like, the idea of aliens can coexist with Christianity. Because even, I guess it depends on what we're calling aliens, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, why would the Bible bother to mention other beings that aren't God or angels if they don't exist somewhere? You know, even if it's not in our known universe.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah. Well, as far as I go,
I was just gonna say I don't necessarily think that they're flying around in saucers and they're gonna come visit us.
Yeah.
You know, what seems more realistic is, you know, the ability for our existences, our realities to overlap versus it being some linear, like, they're on that planet type situation.
More interdimensional, you're saying?
Yeah. They're interdimensional aliens.
Terrestrial.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I think all of it, dude, you know?
They're interdimensional demons.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of said where
You
Dylan
hit the nail on the
says.
head there, buddy.
I wouldn't be surprised, you know, one way or another.
I mean, obviously, if aliens show up, I'm not going to be like, they're not real, you know?
I think the idea is just a fascinating thing. And
I think, I don't know, as a Christian and somebody who wrestles with stuff like this, I do think it's worth mentioning, like, if that were to happen, what would become of your faith and what would happen to it. And some of mine is, even my response is rooted in, like, if my faith couldn't survive, like, the existence of aliens, then, like, I don't know if I would want to, like, have it.
Yeah.
And I get that that's not how a lot of people arrive at their conclusions about these things, but it's, I don't know, even with that, it's like with the scriptures, I feel like that somehow, if that kind of discovery was made, like, there are things that we don't understand that might be illuminated, or I don't know, just perhaps, I don't know, from a more,
maybe that would help.
I mean, that would be
with the Mormon stuff, really.
Yeah.
shed some light on that.
But
I mean,
Anyway.
it really, yeah. I mean, you're right. That would be one of the first things I would think that we would be asking, in general, is just, hey, what have you guys figured out?
Oh, okay.
Well, if they exist,
Yeah,
then
I
they
was still
would have to have
stuck on Mormon
technology
stuff.
Yeah. to
far
get here.
surpassing anything we would
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
So I think they would probably, which I don't believe, but let's just say if they did exist, they would have to have technology that far surpasses anything we could even comprehend. So to them, we would basically be the equivalent of ants,
Like-
and it's like they would not.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even be a blip on their radar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so we want to view everything like everybody's equal to us, like
Yeah.
we're the supreme.
Honestly, what's probably the most likely situation is like a Star Trek thing where it's like, oh, this planet's not far enough along for you to interact with them. It's against regulation to speak to them.
yeah, like that old Disney movie Can of Worms, where there's this little boy and he is trying to reach out to aliens. He gets picked on and stuff, and he finally does. And he, what happens is, when he does it, he accidentally creates a portal that allows basically all these different aliens to finally communicate and come through. But the planet isn't ready for it yet, even though he discovered it. They realized too late, and then they're people with superior technology. But I do agree. I think Joe Rogan talks about that some. It's like if we
Yeah.
were to be
Oh, yeah.
seen by these things, they would basically be like, look at these primates that are killing each other over stupid stuff.
I don't even think we register that much on their radar. I literally think that if somebody possesses the technology to break the known rules of the universe, such as the speed of light, then we are so far beneath them. It's like you wouldn't think of them. I take back ants. It'd be like dust mites. Like you wouldn't even see it. Like it would be like it's just so inconsequential and insignificant that it doesn't even register.
But how do we know that dust mites exist?
I didn't say they did. I said I'm using it as an object lesson here.
Yeah.
Look,
using it to just take it further. It's like
there are still Okay.
people who had to discover that we have dust mites.
okay, all right, cool.
I
I don't know that there are dust mites. I'm just going
I've
off
never
of
seen
hearsay. And if there are no dust mites, I'm open to being told that.
I think we're sleeping on dust mites, dude. Those might be the government drones, really.
Yeah,
I mean, it would basically be depending on how much of a resource Earth potentially was, right?
probably not much. If
Yeah.
they can travel the cosmos
Yeah, but they may not have
Uh-huh.
barbecue.
or, nitrogen.
Beerus. We're back to Beerus, dude.
Beavis.
Yeah, they don't have ramen.
That's a big loss.
I think.
I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Who knows, dude?
So why don't you guys have another song prepared? We'll do that before we go into our last little
Right,
part, and
introduce that.
then we will, then we'll go home, dude.
Okay, this song is called Take Two.
Beautiful. So as we are closing up this episode, I wanted to go over kind of one last thing because of how relevant it is with the time that we're living in now, which is COVID and all this other stuff that's going on, all the memes that have been floating around, how it's like aliens and they're like, oh, we're up next, type thing. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about was Project Bluebeam, which kind of also connects in Brett, to what you were talking about earlier with the Elon Musk.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Eisenhower and the aliens.
Oh, well, this,
They were good people.
yeah, all of them were. Still a good band name, I think. Or pretty much anything, Call of Duty Clan or whatever. But with the all the satellites that he's been launching and stuff like that, some people think that it is actually AV systems that are being set up for Project Bluebeam. So Project Bluebeam is the conspiracy to orchestrate a fear-based scenario that unites bodies of people to side with a preferred faction. So they found was a confirmed like CIA project at one point that had been looked into, and it was to kind of help create this new world order type thing, or just to unite everyone. And so what would better way to unite everybody than to deal with an existential threat of some point? And so more or less it would be a hologram alien invasion, specifically a messianic return kind of like of religions widely. So in different regions, their messiahs would return, then come together and be like, we got to unite into, so that's what Project Bluebeam is, which I think is, it's an interesting concept. We've seen some interesting videos.
What a good prank, really.
Yeah.
That's literally the most government thing of all government things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
The name of it,
Oh, yeah.
the subject matter, the fact
It's
we
very
were not
Spider-Man,
invited
really.
is really what I'm mostly offended by.
Yeah. So this is the stuff this is what they found within Project Bluebeam. Whenever they looked, these were the scenarios kind of marked out. So scenario A, sponsor coordinated global terrorist attacks, blame unwanted scapegoats, justify eradication.
Tuesday is what we call it.
Yeah.
Where I'm from.
Yeah, exactly. 9/11, aka. Scenario B, infect the world population with a rapid viral agent, offer the vaccine only to compliant and submissive governments. Scenario C, activate a weather modification device to implement weather warfare, melt Antarctica, elect an official who is know how to end global warming.
AKA melt Antarctica.
Yeah.
That's my plan if I become
Yeah,
evil.
dude, let's make it worse.
If
so
I
that it
become
can
the
get
worst,
better.
if I get superpowers, I'm melting Antarctica. For sure.
So scenario D, execute protocol 5, shuts down the internet, crashes cryptocurrencies, bend financial institutions into submission through cyber warfare protocols, which, they shut the internet down in Iran for a while. And that was pretty scary because you kind of realize how much we actually depend on. Think about
Iran's
this.
Internet.
How many people do you know that still have a landline phone?
Just businesses.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
mean, very, very rarely do you run into non-grandparent age people that have a landline.
Well, my mom and dad do. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So, scenario E, activate a powerful influencing machine to induce trauma until desired submission. Scenario F, fake alien invasion. Hypothesis includes holographic imagery or induce a widespread mind control agent. Scenario I, implant one World Bank credit card chip into citizens' hand. Don't comply, starve. Scenario S, advance artificial intelligence as close to the point of singularity as possible. Grant Saudi citizenship to the AI that can strategize the most advanced war game scenario that will strike into global submission. And then scenario Z, classified or top secret.
It gets worse.
Yeah. So,
Dude, how about this?
pretty interesting. People think that it's silly, but there are so many CIA documents like this that are floating around that you actually can find. Like there is for the MK Ultra hearings and stuff like that. There were actual hearings where John F. Kennedy's dad, as a senator, was had to question people on mind control experimentation and stuff like that. And like you can go find that stuff and read it. And there's like there's a point in which they're like, hey, but like everybody's saying no, here's the receipts. And they're like, yeah, some of it, but some of, okay. And then they're like, all right. And then that's it. And, nothing happens. Nobody's held accountable, really. We just end up with NASA, and we end up with...
You got your liver, dude?
No.
Yeah, but do you have your liver?
I mean, I do when I drink a little bit. I gave that to my dad a long time ago.
We're doing Howard Stern now.
Baba Booey.
So, yeah, pretty interesting. But I thought that would be just a fun thing to cover during all of the social tension and political tension that's kind of going on.
Dude, how about this?
What's up?
Where's the rest of the letters, dude?
What letters?
We're just going to skip.
Yeah, it stopped at like K or something.
It
didn't
skipped
Then
from
jumped
like
right
F
Z.
to I
Yeah,
and
you're
then
right,
to Z,
dude.
dude.
You're right. A, B, C, D, F, I, S,
Hey, how about this,
Z.
dude?
There is no plan K.
How about this?
Yeah.
Let's not trust the world's safety to someone who doesn't know the alphabet.
Yeah, I agree.
What if we did that?
Well,
That's actually the title of our forthcoming album.
World safety or the alphabet?
Don't trust the alphabet. It was close enough, really.
so yeah. Anybody have anything they want to add before we get out of here?
Yeah, dude. Let me just
So we got some smoke
hide
going
that
on.
real quick.
Speaking of like Messiah's returning, have you seen? There's a video that
it's
comes to
out.
mind
I think it's out of haze.
of
Fog.
it's somewhere in Israel where there's like shofars blowing, but there's like a cloud that's really low, but it's in like a circle.
Yeah.
It's like a hollow center, and they're supposedly you can hear like horses stampeding or something. Have you seen that?
Yeah, so I've seen actually. That's what I was going to
That's
say earlier.
exceptionally.
I just thought of like that when you're like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have this
Yeah.
like for. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is.
Well,
okay.
there's multiple. I've seen a few different ones. I've seen one of a big rubber duck. Have y'all seen that one? There's a big rubber duck that's like terrorizing a city. I've seen what you're talking about, but I've seen the actual like Jesus hologram. And I think that what all those are is they're just basically overlaying like imagery over it. It is compelling. I mean, most of them like look pretty real if you can. For whatever reason, they all add music whenever they do those videos, and I think like if they just didn't, more people would actually believe it. But whenever they play the music, you could better hear when it loops.
Yeah, they just need to play like Pitbull instead or something. So it just sounds like this person who's filming was listening to just regular old
for
music.
real. Instead of like spooky, like they just like spooky.
Hey,
ambient
look at that
royalty
cloud. It's
free.
Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah. Yeah, have like a Spotify, half of a Spotify playlist play. But yeah, I mean, they say that there are people that think that COVID had something to do with that. Like they're trying to do it. Elon Musk is sending all this stuff out. We're gonna have a second. Like the first one was a test to see how easy it was to get us locked down. The second one, we do the actual lockdown, then they initiate this hologram program. Hologram program happens. We can't leave because of lockdown. And it's much easier to convince people whenever they have more pains to look through.
Here's the thing, dude. And not to just give this idea to whoever, but if you really want to make it convincing, there's like stuff that has to happen first before Jesus just comes back. Like they need to hurry up and wrap up the rest of these events,
Yeah.
before he comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, Trump's messing it up.
Some of these seals need to be broken, dude.
All these
Yeah.
peace deals.
Cannot believe those are the words that just came out of your mouth. Just the fact that he's messing it up with the peace deal.
Yeah, it's all gotta be a war over there or something, right?
Yeah.
I guess, man.
He's the Antichrist, dude. I've heard that recently too, as well.
I heard that.
They say that about every president. There is always someone who says that about any of our presidents, dude.
Yeah.
Well, only within the past few hundred years.
Well, here's the thing, dude. I've been saying that from the beginning with the QAnon and like Nasara.
Yeah, but so has the idea of. Never
What?
mind.
But the Nasara Jasara thing and like New World Order and stuff like that, they're like Trump's gonna like unite the world and he's gonna like there's gonna be like a new currency and there's gonna be, and it's like, isn't this the same thing y'all were talking about 10 years ago about New World Order and Mark of the Beast, and they're gonna put the chip in your arm and you're gonna like, isn't that the same thing? Is it not? Like, how is that not the same exact thing that you're describing? So it's weird. Yeah, we've done it, but now all of a sudden it's a different, it's the other thing. So,
Sorry to make it political, everybody.
yeah, wow.
Skinny Rick did it.
Yeah. It's always the person with the vest on, dude.
Way to go, Red Dead.
Yeah, dude.
half a vest.
Yeah,
It's like
dude,
a
dude.
vest scarf.
Yeah, I got like it. This is like somebody's graduation thing that they messed up. Really,
you're a baby.
I feel like a thought in this thing, dude. It's too little, and it's like about 3/4 of a dress, kind of. I feel like if I go stand outside for a little while. Well, look, let's get out of here, man. We've been going for about an hour, and
Have we really,
So,
dude?
yeah.
How the time flies when you're talking about aliens.
yeah, dude. Okay. Alienage. Yeah. So follow us on social media. You know the stuff. I am at TBAT Quinn.
Give some time for that lower third, and then mine is at TBAT SKINERICK. That's Skynrick.
Yeah.
At twitter.org.
Yeah.
You can find me there.
Yeah. And you can swipe right on Dylan on Tinder.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to find our band because I think we've decided to break up. This whole thing's
Yeah.
just not working out for me. And I'm sorry that you had to find out like this. But, unreconcilable differences.
Are you guys one of those fake Spotify bands? Do y'all know about that? The conspiracy? Oh, dude, we'll
Who
talk
you
about
calling
that.
fake?
We'll talk about that one day. Yeah. Okay. So,
You cool with that, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. He didn't like me anyway, so it's like it's sort of a mutual thing.
why don't y'all play y'all's last hit and get us out of here?
Which one's our last hit? Song 2. Take 2. That is our greatest hit.
It's the greatest hit. Skinny Rick's got this fog going on. We never addressed this fog the entire time. For no reason. This is the stupidest thing. All right. Happy Halloween.
Happy Hallows Eve, baby.
Yeah.
All Hallows Eve.
You know, it's just kidding, right, though? We're still together.
Jeez.